What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Nest podcast.
Where great takes are born. If you're new here, my name's Peyton.
I'm Will.
And we're just a bunch of dudes talking some ball. And I'm honestly ready to get into it today. Will's had some controversial takes the past couple days.
All right, bro.
So I'm so ready to get into this episode. So let's do it. So first thing we want to talk about is that good game last night, Notre Dame, Ohio State. First thing I want to say is I'm sorry, Notre Dame fans. I'm not even sorry y'all lost. I'm sorry that you had Riley freaking Leonard as your quarterback. I can name so many better quarterbacks in the nation better than Riley Leonard. I don't know how he let him. I mean, last podcast episode, I said Riley Leonard has grit. Mm-hmm. He does have grit. He does. He's that hard-nosed football player, but he is awful. It reminded me a lot of a Clemson DJ Ungalungale offense at Clemson. A bunch of screen passes, no throws out the middle, whole bunch of QB draws. It really made me mad last night.
I'm going to agree with you. I feel like he was the problem, but he kind of got it together a little bit towards the end, I will say. He on the stat sheet, his completion percentage was 22 for 31. He had over 200 yards passing, 40 yards from scrimmage, but Notre Dame started really slow in that game, and that's why Ohio State really won the game, honestly.
He didn't pass the eye test for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with you.
I don't know if there was I would put Jennings from SMU over him in the playoffs.
Really?
I would put Cade over him in the playoffs.
For sure.
I don't even know if there's a quarterback I wouldn't put over him, if I'm being honest. That team was ran strictly by run defense, passing defense, and their offense was good enough to keep up with Gunnar Stockton in that game. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think Riley Leonard's all that. I think he is not even a top 10 quarterback in the draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Notre Dame, I thought they were honestly going to come back at the end of that game for a little while.
I did think they were going to come back. Their defense started stringing together some stops, but then they got a little too hard-headed, left Jeremiah Smith one-on-one.
You can't do that.
No, not at all. Jeremiah Smith torched them on that play.
Oh, yeah. It was a simple, fake corner, go to the edge.
Yep.
It was, we beat him one-on-one. It's too easy.
I mean, they sent the all-out blitz. It just didn't work. It reminded me of the Arizona State against Quinn, the last play. The Quinn threw a touchdown to win the game. Arizona State did an all-out blitz. Quinn torched them just like
on the 4th and 13.
Yeah, on the 4th and 13 call. So that same thing happened last night. Just torched them. Jeremiah Smith, barbecue chicken all day. Yeah,
well, you know who looked really good in that game? Will Howard. He looked really well. He was making all of his throws. What did he go 21 for 25 from passing?
Yeah, he didn't. Not many incompletions from the kid.
Yeah, he played really well.
No, yeah, he played very well. I think he's very well. I mean, I know it's a weak quarterback class. You have Cam Ward, Shador, Jackson Dart, Quinn now. I think he can easily be if his combine's good, a top 5 QB in the draft.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, going into it like a QB needy team in the second, third round. I definitely don't think he'll go first, but there's a lot of other talent on the board. But definitely how the QB draft class is, I think he's definitely a top 5 pick.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think he's a good quarterback. The only argument you can have is that he's got all these weapons for him on offense. But he played really well. He made some really nice throws. I think he outplayed Riley Leonard by far in that game.
Oh, times two.
No question.
No question about it. The only other thing I can complain about is his durability. Yeah. His durability is like a sack of freaking potatoes. I mean, the man can't escape a sack out. I mean, if there's a guy coming after him, he can't escape a sack. We're crap. I don't even know how his legs doesn't work. His legs don't work.
He got tripped up a few times.
Yeah, but he was dotting up last night. He definitely made it up with his arm. Will Howard's a freaking good player. Fifth year, right? Yeah. Started out with Kansas State, so led him to a Big 12 championship last year. He made a good decision going to Ohio State and ended up taking him to Natty and winning it. So
same with Judkins too, starting out at Ole Miss and making the change to Ohio. He's a junior. You think he'll stay one more year and really boost his stock?
For people that don't know, that our friends that aren't watching this, I'm a Cowboys fan, and we're very needy at running back right now. I would love Judkins if we don't go G&T first round. I think Judkins is a very good player. Scored 3 touchdowns last night. Very mobile. Can do it both in the pass game, the run game. I think he's a very good player that's going to go second, third round.
Yeah, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, a receiving touchdown. He had some really nice runs in that Notre Dame game. And Notre Dame's defense, dude, they've been stopping the run the whole – I will say Singleton and Allen, they were – they're an exception. They're, ridiculous.
Best running back doing in college.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they took Henderson out of the game. I mean, he was doing it all. Yeah. I mean – he looked dang good last night, like I said, with 3 touchdowns. So I see him. I don't think his stock's going to get any higher. He's not getting any younger. Running backs, they don't have a long span in the NFL. So I think he's definitely going to go to the draft this year to a good team in the second round.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame, he didn't have a very good game. I remember saying last podcast, if they wanted to win, he had to play well.
You did.
But
yep.
he just didn't have a good game.
Yeah, he's been injured all playoffs, man. It was his shoulder. I think he wants to have shoulder surgery after this season. So he's been banged up all playoffs. So I feel really bad for him. He had a really good regular season. That offensive line still looked really good last night for Notre Dame. Yeah. So I do feel bad for Marcus Freeman and the boys, but I said Notre Dame was going to win, but deep down I knew Riley Leonard was not going to get the job done.
It was crazy though. I was watching the first drive. Their O-line was manhandling Ohio State. I know there's first drive jitters and all that, but they looked really good the first drive and just couldn't replicate it the whole game.
A lot of power O's from Riley Leonard on that. That's what I was saying to Ethan. So my roommate Ethan, he's a Panthers fan. I'm saying they need to draft Riley Leonard to get that 4th down QB sneak going, because I know Bryce Young ain't going to do it. But I think they need to draft a team like that needs to draft Riley Leonard, maybe convert him to a Taysom Hill. They have the same body type.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen. They just need to put some weight on him, coach him up. I think he can turn into a Taysom Hill type player.
Yeah, I don't really know how much better his passing is going to be. I mean, he'll be in the NFL. He might have a coach that can really help him develop. But at the same time, I like the Taysom Hill idea. He's mobile. He can run. No,
yeah, he can definitely run. He's a very strong quarterback. He's, like I've been saying, he's hard nosed. So I think a Taysom Hill type player is very good for him.
Where do you think he falls in the draft? If he, he's obviously going to go. And
yeah, quarterbacks are going to go. I think he goes 5th or 6th.
I agree with you.
5th or 6th, no earlier than that at all. If the teams takes him earlier than that, that team's probably poverty. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I think he goes 5th or 6th. I think that's a very good spot for him. I think he's a guy that honestly one day in his career can do it all, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see on that. We'll see on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Hey, Notre Dame's probably one of their biggest things on offense. What was it? Greenhouse, 125 yards.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
2 touchdowns, or was it 1 touch? I can't remember.
1 touchdown, that one-handed catch, right? Yeah, he was getting it was a pass interference on the play and everything. He called it. Yeah, he looked good last night. He was one of the only weapons they had on offense last night. So, but then Ohio State, they had Abuka. He played really well. Mm-hmm. Like we said, the running back played really well. Jeremiah Smith is one of the best receivers at the end of his college career of all time, in my opinion. He still has 2 more years with the team at least, which I assume he's going to go after his junior year. Yeah. But he might end up being one of the best Ohio State receivers of all time, along with Michael Thomas, Jackson Smith-Njigba, all those all-time players. Marvin Harrison.
Those are crazy names too that were listed.
Oh yeah, 100%. He can stack up with those boys like it's nothing. So I think he's going to go down in history with a couple of them. But yeah, he's a heck of a player, man.
Yeah.
Watching him last night, it's something special brewing up. They had Ohio State at number 11 at the way too early rankings, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I don't even know. I personally don't know if they have another quarterback on their roster that's going to compete for them.
I know that Ikbuka's gone. Jeremiah Smith stays. Mm-hmm. Trevion Henderson's gone.
Mm-hmm. Maybe both their running
Jack
backs.
Sawyer's gone. Judkins, whatever happens with him, he may be gone too. Will Howard's definitely out, and they have who's their new guy? Is it Julian Sayin? Is that his name, or is it a different guy?
I think I know who,
because Aaron Noland, he went to USC. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back in
Aaron Noland,
back in late December, early January. But yeah, I don't really know what to expect from them next year. I know defensively they'll probably stay the same. Jack Sawyer's gone. Other than that, I don't really know who they're losing on defense. Offensively, I think they may have a little bit of an issue to start the season. Then they'll figure it out.
Just some chemistry. Yeah, just some chemistry stuff. But, I mean, hey, they have one of the most NIL in the country, and that's what I want to go on my next thing, man.
Yep. Okay. Let's go.
Will, man, he posted on his personal Instagram account, Saturday's Best.
Yep.
How was very sarcastic and said to the viewers that good job on your $20 million team, which is just blasphemous to me. I personally think Ohio State had one of the best runs of all time in the college football playoffs. Had to be 4 different top 10 AP poll teams. Of course, I know that's the new wave with the 12-team playoff, how it is now, but they steamrolled number 1 Oregon.
They did. Hey, I'm not arguing with you. They dominated in the playoff. I did say before the playoff that they shouldn't have been in there. I'm being like, it was the wrong. I said some stupid stuff.
It's bad.
I said that they shouldn't have been in the playoff. They didn't deserve it. Even though they beat certain teams that are in the playoff, they didn't deserve it. I mean, the Michigan loss really did it for me. And I didn't really know how they were going to respond to that, but they responded insanely, and they won the whole thing. So
I knew they were going to be fine. There was no sense of panicking over the Michigan loss. Michigan and Ohio State, that's just a rivalry like Clemson, South Carolina.
You're right.
I mean, it's one of the best rivalries of all time out of any sport, in my personal opinion. It gets hard-nosed out there, but that was some blasphemous takes because they beat Oregon, who's number 2 in NIL, steamrolled them. Yep. Texas, who's number 3 in NIL, ended up not being that close of a game. I mean, they beat all these teams in the AP top 10. So I think Ohio State diminishing their national championship run is terrible. Them boys fought hard, man. Them boys fought hard. They did. Not even mention, everyone's forgetting first round how they did Tennessee, who's another top 10 team in the country.
I also picked Tennessee to win that game, so that was kind of crazy.
It wasn't even close, man.
It wasn't, dude. I was just mad in the moment that Ohio State was in the playoff in the first place.
Yeah.
And I mean, I figured that Ohio State would probably win, but I don't know. I was just like going off a limb, just picking Tennessee.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But yeah, Ohio State had a generational run. Congrats to them. Notre Dame fans, I'm sorry again. Not that you lost, but you had Riley Leonard as your quarterback for 16 games. I wouldn't be able to watch that, so props to y'all.
Yeah.
So now we definitely want to transition to the NFL playoffs. How you think they've been so far?
I think it's been really good. If you guys haven't checked out my channel, I'm like 7-1, 8-1 in predictions for the playoffs. Actually. Yeah, I think it's 7-1, 8-1. But yeah, I like it so far. I really like this Bills-Chiefs matchup. Mm-hmm. Bills, they're finally, maybe have the potential to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, man. I wasn't expecting the Commanders at all to do the Lions the way they did. I think this definitely, if it was anything, I know they are very hurt on defense without Hutch, without a lot of key defensive players on that defensive line. I thought this was definitely still one of their years that they could have pushed, but now they're going to be losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. So I don't know where they go from here, especially with Aaron Goff. Had 4 turnovers during that game. He had 1 fumble, 3 interceptions, including a pick 6. So that was really brutal. Yeah,
that's probably brutal. The difference in that game.
Oh, 100% it was a difference in that game. But you have young Jaden Daniels making a case for having one of the best rookie seasons of all time.
He might be like the best first-year starter I've ever probably ever seen, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, people are saying he's like a young RG3, but I already think he's passing him, honestly.
He's better. He's more accurate than him.
Yeah.
He's got the same mobility as him, but he just looks like a stud, dude.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Jaden Daniels, he's mobile, like you said. He has a good demeanor on him. Terry McLaurin finally got a quarterback, and he's proven that this year that he belongs in the top receivers in the NFL and needs to be in those conversations. I personally think he's the second best receiver in the NFC East behind CeeDee Lamb. I know that's a little bit biased, but CeeDee's still him. I do think he's better than A.J. Brown, though. He can read books all he wants on the sideline, but Terry McLaurin is better.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's up with the books on? Does it just keep him motivated?
Yeah,
or is
he said he highlights different passages, and it keeps him focused on the game, but he's only caught 20 yards the past 2 games. But hey, they're still winning. So
that's true.
I mean, I think that's going to be a really good game between the Commanders and the Eagles. They both beat each other once this year, but the Commanders did beat them when Kenny Pickett was in. But I still think that's going to be a very good game since it's 2 NFC East rivals.
It's at the Eagles, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
At the Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts has to play good for them to win this game. I've always thought Jalen Hurts is a little fraudulent. I think Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback in that game.
We already know Saquon will do his thing. He always does.
Yeah, 100%. Saquon, if he runs over 150, actually, if he runs over 125, they win that game. They have to shut Saquon down. Run defense has to be there. And then, make Jalen Hurts throw, and you're going to win that game.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, I do prediction videos. In my next prediction video for the Commanders Eagles, I'm picking the Commanders, dude. They're really hot right now.
Yeah. Who you got? Bills Chiefs.
The Chiefs are They have the best quarterback in football right now, but I really am hopeful that Josh Allen and the Bills win this game. I'm really excited for the Bills, making it back to the conference championship, and this is like the biggest game of Josh Allen's probably his career. Yep. It's a redemption game for him, so I think they're going to be on it in this game, and they're going to win.
I mean, you have James Cook. Production crew's here.
Shout out Alex and Mark
here. Back. Alex and Mark is here. So you got. You have Josh Allen this weekend.
Am I in frame?
No, you're good. You're good.
Am I in frame?
Yeah, you're. Okay. Wait, come over here.
He's on.
Hold on.
Give me the headphones.
We're talking about NFL. We're talking about NFL playoffs right now, but we just got done talking about Ohio State, Notre Dame. Go ahead.
Well, we're gonna spin right back to Ohio State, Notre Dame. Okay. Here's the problem. Here's the problem that I had today. I wake up today. I'm having a great day. I go on Instagram. And this guy's clowning Ohio State. Now, let's just rewind for a second because I'm going to embarrass you, okay? Okay. So we're going to rewind. So, first off, this is the biggest Ohio State hater you will ever meet. I mean, the guy hates them. He hates Ryan Day. He said he looks like a gopher. Okay?
I did say that.
Yeah, he did say that.
Like a beaver more than a gopher.
Okay, he hates them. He hates his guts, right? Anyways, so this guy hates Ohio State, proceeds to say they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. What? Like, what are you doing?
I did say that.
Yeah, you did say that. Okay, now they're in the playoffs, right? They're in the playoffs. Oh, Ohio State. Oh, my God. They're just like, Ohio State, they're going to win it all. Like, they're so good. Oh, my God. Like, you glaze them. Every pick, views, just for views. Just every pick, Ohio State. You're a clickbaiter, okay? You're getting called out, all right? And then today, he goes on, he's clowning them. He's clowning them today. He's like, oh my God, congrats on winning with a $20 million roster. I mean, what are you thinking? You just contradicted yourself 3 times. You should be ashamed of yourself. You did it all for views. You could shove that Ohio State win up your buttocks. All right?
All right, everyone, that's production crew member
Sorry,
Alex.
It's a rant. We just got home from a Mexican restaurant. We had a great meal, but I'm still pissed off. Go back to the podcast. Stop saying dumb shit.
All right, that's a production crew.
Those are some nice words from Alex Stakos.
Alex,
appreciate it.
All right. All right,
so back to the NFL
playoffs. All right, so you had the Buffalo Bills winning.
I do. Yes, I do.
All right, so I think Patrick Mahomes is very good at football still.
100%.
I think although he had a down year, I think he's still he still has that most playoff experience. But I think Josh Allen is him.
I agree,
I think
bro.
Josh Allen can win this game. I think Josh Allen can go for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, but still give me the Kansas City Chiefs.
Man.
The Chiefs. Travis Kelce, 150 yards against the Texans last game.
They're
calling him. Go ahead.
Really pulled the Pat McAfee on me.
Yeah, 150 yards last game. They're calling him washed. What? Patrick Mahomes balled out. What? Dude, they have Xavier Worthy, speed demon. What? Give me the Chiefs by 10. They're going to go. Bills are going to walk into Arrowhead not knowing what hit them.
Hey, man. It's going to be a good game. The Chiefs they can win, dude. I'm not saying they're not capable of winning.
They are going to win. They're the favorites. Right. They're not the underdogs. Chiefs by 10. Give me the 3-peat in this playoffs.
All right. Well, we'll see what Josh Allen has to say about that. All right. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what Josh Allen has to say about it, I guess. But I mean, Josh Allen knocked the Ravens out of the playoffs.
He did.
So our question is, who's the problem for the Ravens?
Well, Mark Andrews, first of all, dropped that easy catch in for a 2-point conversion. I mean, it's just terrible. You got to catch that. I mean, I know it's snowing, it's wet, but you're an NFL tight end. You got to catch the ball, man. It's all on the line.
And he had a crucial fumble too when they were driving down the field.
He did.
That was only his second fumble since 2019.
I heard that when they were talking about the game on the commentators. Yeah.
I don't know for the Ravens if it's bad luck, if it's coaching. I would hate to say it's Lamar, but he had an interception and a fumble that game. He doesn't perform the best in the playoffs. However, I think he did enough in that game to win. I don't think that it was John Harbaugh's fault either because he can't control players' turnovers. They had 3 turnovers, like we just said. I can't really put my finger on it who's at fault here. Maybe they do need just a change of scenery within their coaching with like Harbaugh and them.
Maybe, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they need new leadership in the locker room. Who knows?
Well, I don't think it's a Lamar issue. I think that it's if Mark Andrews catches that ball, I think it could be a whole different game. The Ravens have a chance to go into overtime, get the ball first, and win the game.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing for the Ravens. But Lamar Jackson obviously made some mistakes on the road. Bills it's a hard place to play, dude. And it's cold, it's snowing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're obviously used to that in Baltimore, but it's a different breed up in Upper New York at the Bills.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me because Lamar really doesn't make those mistakes in the regular season. Personally, I think he should win MVP over Josh Allen. I think he's not the better player. I thought he was a better quarterback this year. But it's just crazy to me. He doesn't make those mistakes during the regular season, but playoffs a whole different snaps just like
Lamar,
that.
He basically went perfect this year in the regulars. What did he do? 41 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions.
And not even including his rushing
10
stats.
rushing touchdowns. Like the guy's a beast. But I don't know. Personally, I want to give it to Josh because Lamar's already had how many 2 MVPs now, or has it been just 1?
Yeah, 2 MVPs.
Yeah. I think Josh Allen deserves. I mean, he just beat him head to head. People are gonna argue about that.
No, you're right.
Don't get me wrong. Lamar probably had, if not that, probably one of the best regular seasons you'll see from a quarterback.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I truly think this year should have been a second MVP. He should have won it over Dak last year. Maybe, again, a little biased, but Dak had more touchdowns, more yards, more everything.
Yeah.
But, of course, Josh Allen's still a great player. I think, like you said, the problem with the Ravens is not Lamar. I think they do need a coaching change overall. And they're talking about cutting, trading, doing what with Mark Andrews. Like I said, the guy hasn't fumbled since 2019. I really don't think it's him. Of course, he made a mistake, 2 mistakes. Nothing you can do about it, but I do think they need that coaching change and get rid of John Harbaugh.
I personally think that they should try and go for one more receiver on their receiving core. I think that Zay Flowers is good. They have Bateman in there, but I don't really see any other guy. They have Isaiah Likely in a tight end. They have Mark Andrews. Even though he didn't play well in that game, he's still a good tight end.
Yeah.
But I think if they got one more receiver on that receiving core, maybe go for a running back later in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't currently know who there is. It's Hill, right?
What?
At running back? Justice Hill.
No,
yeah.
Hey, Derrick Henry.
All right, it's Derrick.
Whoa,
I don't know. Hey,
hold on.
It's Derrick Henry. It's Derrick Henry. Yeah. I had a brain fart there. It's Derrick Henry.
I think they trade for Tyreek Hill from the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
I think they trade him for a 3rd and 4th round pick. I don't think Tyreek's worth a 2nd anymore. Tyreek's still a very, very good player. I know he had a down year, but he had Tua, who was hurt half the time. Then he had to play with Skylar Thompson. Just a bunch of different quarterbacks. It was basically a carousel back there. But I think Tyreek Hill's still a really good player, and I think he would thrive on the Ravens. If not, I would go draft someone.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I think Ravens are going to be fine. My answer to that question, though, is I think Harbaugh might be the problem.
Yeah,
I think so. So getting away from the NFL again, we're going to talk about some cover athletes for College Football 26.
Here we go.
College Football 25, so much fun to play. First time it ever came back. Everyone's dream for it to come back. First time since what, 2014?
2014. It was actually 2013. They just had the 14 on the.
Right.
Dude, I waited 10 years to play that game, bro.
Yeah,
I was so excited when it came out. I still play it, Road to Glory. That's all I play. Make my own I only play as a quarterback. I don't do anything else. It's just nostalgic. I don't know. It's awesome.
No, yeah. College football is so much fun to play. I loved it this year. They had so many different modes, Dynasty, like you said, Road to Glory, all that.
Road to the College Football Playoff, Ultimate Team, franchise, or not franchise, like you said, Dynasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also cool that they have the transfer portal in there. I hope they make some more modifications with that. They could probably do a lot more with the portal and NIL and coaches texting you and stuff, and there's just so much they can do with that game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited for NCAA 26. I think they did pretty well with the cover athletes. I thought Quinn was pretty deserving of that title on there. Travis Hunter, Heisman winner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Edwards, though, what happened to him?
I don't know, man.
I don't know if he was dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
He had such a good year last year with Michigan, winning the national championship, playing really good against Washington in the playoff game, but he just kind of fell off.
Now my question is, do you think they'll go with the 3-player format Will they go 2? Will they go 1? How many think you'll be on there?
I think they could go 3 or maybe even 4. I think
4?
I
Okay.
feel like you have to put Arch Manning on there just because of his name and his, he's the new starter at Texas. So I feel like they'll probably put him on, if not on the regular edition, maybe the deluxe or the Legends.
100%. Mm-hmm.
I think for the 3-team, like the 3-player format for the regular, personally, I think you have Cade Klubnik as the outright number 1 pick for that. Returning for.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think he, returning as the Clemson starter, had one of the best touchdown interception ratios in the country. Really accurate. He made a lot of big plays for Clemson this year. He's one of the main reasons why they made it to the playoff.
Yeah, 100%. Cade's an awesome player in my opinion. Way better than DJ. But yeah, Cade, I think he's very deserving to be on there. My dream cover would be the two top 8 quarterbacks of the Palmetto State. Actually, it would be Cade and Lenore side by side.
I like Lenore's on there too, but I personally don't think he gets on there this year. Maybe the year after.
I don't think he gets on there this year either, but that would be a very dang good cover. Like I said, representing the Palmetto State would be a sick cover. One of the best rivalries in college football. But I think you have to have players like Arch on there, Jeremiah Smith on there.
Smith is probably, he was my number 2 guy to be on that on the cover for sure.
I do think Cade should be on there. Unfortunately, I think they're going to maybe stick Aller on there, which I don't agree with.
I don't like that at all.
I don't
He played
either.
awful in the playoffs. It's
not even marketable.
He didn't play well against Notre Dame. He honestly looked terrible. He didn't throw one pass to his receiver. It was all Tyler Warren in that game.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I do think they'll try because I've seen a lot of people ranking Aller as a top 3 quarterback going in next year.
So much hype around him, dude. Look, he had a good year. He played good against Boise and SMU, but when the big game matters, I think he just kind of gets frantic and he just didn't look good.
No, I agree. I think they might try to stick Lagway on there too. Florida's quarterback.
I mean, he's good. He's good because they had another quarterback starting. He comes in and they finish. What did they finish 5-0 to finish the year? Something crazy like that. They beat LSU. Remind me who else they beat. They beat. Did they beat Tennessee? No, they didn't beat Tennessee. No. I can't remember who they beat. They beat some dang good teams. They beat Ole Miss.
Yeah, they beat some. Ole Miss. Yeah, they beat some good teams. Yeah. Lagway, I think he can be one of the top quarterbacks next year for sure. I think he can be very deserving of that cover. So I think there's a couple quarterbacks. I'm trying one receiver within Jeremiah Smith. I'm trying to think of running backs.
You could argue for Jeremiah Love, but I don't think he did. True. He had a really good year, over 1,000 yards rushing, over 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He didn't really play well in the playoffs, but I don't know if that should take him out of the conversation for the cover because he is a good running back.
I do think this is going to be a quarterback-heavy cover along with Jeremiah Smith. I think Jeremiah Smith's one of the players. Or they might try to stick Ryan Williams on there from Alabama.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I'd even think about him at first. I might try to stick him on there. How much? Because he got a lot of talk around him, a lot of hype around him since he was only 17 years old playing college football. So he still had a very good year. Alabama wasn't as good, but I still think they might try to throw him on there.
As odd as it sounds, I think they may consider Carson Beck as well, just because he's at Miami now and he's like a 6-year senior. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think they consider him heavily too for the cover.
Oh, 100%. I honestly forgot about Beck too. I personally do. I think he belongs on it. No.
I don't. Yeah, I'm with you.
But largest NIL deal in college football history, $4 to $6 million. I think they might stick that on there for him.
Yeah. Caleb Downs is another guy too from
Ohio. That's a good one.
You usually don't put 2 of the same guys from the same team on the cover, but he is a potential candidate I've seen.
Yeah, if they don't stick Jeremiah Smith on there for whatever reason, Caleb Downs is a very good pick on the defensive side of the ball as well. They might honestly flip the defense since they have one on the cover. Or they had Travis Hunter, but
they did. Yeah, but he played both ways.
Yeah. So maybe a full-time defensive player on the cover would be good for him. But yeah, I think there could be a lot of good players on the cover. I just think it's going to be quarterback heavy. There's just so many good uprising quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks that can be put on there. And yeah, I think it can be.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
But I do think our boy Cade belongs on there. But speaking of some Clemson, we're going to talk about some Clemson basketball right here.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Playing Syracuse tomorrow at home. Will's going to the game tomorrow. Unfortunately, I can't.
I will be there.
I have an intramural basketball game I have to hoop up.
Yep.
But a big home game against Syracuse. I don't know how much we're favored by, but I know we're favored.
Yep.
Syracuse is having a rough year this year, while Clemson is having a very optimistic year, better start than they did last year. I think Clemson pulls this one out by 15.
I agree with you. It might be even more than that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Clemson, ever since the Louisville loss, they've been playing really good. Had a really close call against Pitt. You know, they came back, but we won in overtime. Chase Hunter.
Yeah, that was too close to call. Chauncey Wiggins, he had a very good overtime. He had 5 points in overtime.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then Chase, he hit that dagger three.
That was disgusting, dude.
That was absolutely disgusting. But they were up by 14 at one point. The boys, they always come out slow, very slow to start out the game. But then the second half, they're always turning it up. But it was the opposite this game. They went into halftime with a 10-point lead, went up by 14 in the second half, and I thought it was over by then. Turned it off on my phone. And then after that, they started coming back. It made no sense to me. But win's a win at Pitt. They were favored. Doesn't matter. So, I mean, that puts us in tied for second in the ACC, or excuse me, right behind Louisville, who beat us, who has the head-to-head.
Yeah, they're ranked now. Louisville.
Yeah, 25. There's 3 ACC teams ranked, Louisville, SMU, and Duke, who is number 2 in the nation, who we have on February 7th.
I think it's 7th. Yeah, that's going to be an I am so worried about Cooper Flag.
They might be ranked number 1 in the country by the time they get here in Death Valley.
I think they should. They beat Auburn head-to-head, who's number 1.
Yeah,
I think they should give it to them.
Oh, 100%.
Before we
I
play
agree.
them, which would be insane if we played the number 1 team in the country. If they, other than us, I think they'll probably win out, and they're going to be a number 1 seed in the ACC. And
John is going to be rocking. That weekend is an awesome weekend, by the way. We have Duke on that Saturday. We have Super Bowl Sunday, and then UNC Monday. It's going to be a great week of college hoops, of NFL. Great way to end the season, whoever's in the Super Bowl. But I'm really excited for Clemson basketball this year. My prediction for their tournament seeding is I think a 4 or 5 seed, honestly. People at first of the season thought we were going to be worse this year than last year, but I think it's the opposite because of our depth. I mean, we have that UConn level depth, huh?
Yeah, we do, bro. We have a really good bench. Jake's really come along since Christmas, and Dylan Hunter's been really good.
Yeah,
he comes in for his brother. He's been hitting his threes lately, dude. He's been playing well. Chase Hunter, obviously, he's been probably the best player on this team the whole season.
Far.
Yeah, by far. And Jaden Zachary's really been doing well too. He's probably the best two-way player we have.
Oh, 100%.
And he's been hitting his 3-ball lately too, and he's just been looking really good. And Victor, he's struggled a little bit, but he usually comes out when we need him. And Shefflin too.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Chase Hunter, he's going to be first team All ACC.
Oh yeah,
I mean, no doubt.
That's what it's looking like right now.
Yeah, he's had 2 or 3 straight 20-point games. He's our leading scorer. He does it on both sides of the ball. But around a very good player, you have to add the supporting cast, like Will was saying. Like you said, Jaden Zachary, he's a little pest out there,
man. He's a pest, bro. He gets all up in your face,
Yeah,
dude.
He's a little pest. I mean, that dude right there plays some defense. I love watching Jaden Zachary. Personally, other than Chase Hunter, he's my most favorite player to watch. I think we have one of the best backcourts in the ACC, other than Duke.
Totally agree with you.
But I think
Louisville's probably up there as well. It's probably us, Louisville, and Duke.
100%.
And you could argue North Carolina as well. They're kind of coming along.
Yeah. I think our key to making a deep run in the tournament, or even finish out the season very well, is Ian Shefflin has to start turning up.
I totally agree.
Yeah, he was voted one of the top players among the ACC, one of the top players, power forwards among the country, honestly. And I don't think this year so far he has fully lived up to that. But I think he's going to turn it up. I think that's one of the players that gives us a chance to win. I mean, he literally defines that Clemson grit. That's when I think Clemson grit on basketball, I think of Ian Shefflin. I mean, that shows that Kentucky game. He had, 20 rebounds?
He played out of his mind.
Yeah. I mean, he had a double-double by halftime. I mean, I think Ian he'll start turning up, and I think that's our X factor for the team.
I agree with you. I think he's going to turn up, once playoff stuff comes around in the ACC tournament. He did really well last tournament. I expect him to do the same this year. But, I think we really need to start playing Miles Foster a little bit more. And we just really need to – I think we need to personally start playing our bench guys a lot more too. Just because, we're getting closer to the playoff time now, and we got to – especially with UConn, looking at how they've done the past few years, they always had a good bench. And the reason they had a good bench is because they'd play all their guys, and they'd all be fresh, ready to go. And that's how you win the games, when you have depth and all your guys have experience.
Oh, 100%. I think one of our weaknesses this year, of course, or has been actually the past couple years, we could never find a backup center.
Totally agree with you. Yep.
Brought in Christian Reeves, who's a Duke transfer. He's a young player. I think he's going to be all right at the end of his career at Clemson, but he struggled heavily this year. Even that goes years back. I mean, we had UNC Greensboro transfer Boz Lyett as a backup center to PJ Hall. And the year before that, we had Middlebrooks, who transferred to NC State. So these centers for us, the backup centers for us have never really worked out. So once our big man gets into foul trouble, teams utilize that against Shefflin, which sucks. But
yeah,
you got it. Brad has to know that's one of the weaknesses we have, and has to build on that.
He does. I think that Christian Reeves he obviously has the frame. He's got the athletic capabilities. It's all there. He's just gotta keep playing basketball, man. He was at Duke, didn't play at all. They just had such a deep roster, and he also was dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
He transferred here. I think he's healthy now, but he'll keep playing. I'm hoping he stays his whole career, because I think he has the potential to probably really build himself a solid career at Clemson.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think he's going to be fine. Overall, I think Christian Reeves is going, like you said, has the frame to be a good player, has the ability to be a good player. So I think he's going to be fine. But overall this year, I think this team is going to finish up great. I think they're going to finish up very strong. I think they're going to hustle out to the end. I think this year's the year we finally make a run in the ACC tournament.
I hope so. We always get knocked out early, dude. Yep. It's always how it is.
Last year we got knocked out early. The year before to Wake Forest we got knocked out early. So I think this year finally is the year we make a deep run in it. Hopefully we carry some momentum into that tournament.
I want to say, I think Jaden Zachary was the one who knocked us out last year, right, with BC, right?
Yeah, man. They gave us all we could handle, but then I didn't expect nothing in the tournament. Then we ended up.
Then we turned up.
Started dancing a little bit. Started getting that underdog story. But I'm excited for the rest of this year for Clemson basketball. I think it's going to be a really good year.
I am too. Hopefully we beat Syracuse tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that game. So yeah. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, man. So going back to some college football, I want to ask you, you're way too early top 10 next year.
Oh man, I just don't know what all these rosters have coming back, especially with the portal and all the money involved. I honestly don't know who I put at number one.
Yeah.
I think you probably could put Ohio State there to start the season.
Okay.
I don't really know what their quarterback situation is looking like entirely, but they're going to have a good roster again, so you could probably stick them at number one.
Okay.
Or maybe Georgia.
Okay.
Probably Ohio State 1, Georgia 2.
You would put Georgia 2?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
keep going.
All right, keep going. Okay. All right.
Want to hear all 10.
Okay. I put Texas at 3 with Arch. There's a lot of hype there. Oregon at 4. They have a guy in there. I can't remember his name, but he transferred. What's that? Dante Moore. That's
Oregon
right.
Quarterback. Production crew, Mark. Yes, sir.
Mark. Yep. Thank you. He came in when Dylan Gabriel did. At first, I was kind of confused, but it all makes sense now. Dylan Gabriel's gone. Dante Moore's coming in. So yeah, I think you got to put Oregon at 4.
Okay.
Number 5, I think you put Clemson there, personally.
I like that.
I think you put them there with everything we have coming back. Tom Allen is the new DC. I think we're going to be a top 10 offense and a top 5 defense, personally.
Top 5 defense?
Yeah.
I like that.
Might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think it's going to be hard for teams to predict how our defense is going to be with him there. So it's going to be a whole new scheme.
Yeah, 100%. Tom Allen is going to change the whole defense, in my opinion. The last couple weeks of the season, we put Peter Woods at the edge rusher.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. I know it didn't make no sense to any of the fans, but that's how Goodwin wanted it, I guess. But that's our nose tackle, man. That's who we want there. he is one of those guys that's an absolute dog. So I don't know why we moved him around, but I think Tom Allen's going to know where to put these boys and what we'll get the most out of them too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And to continue with the way too early top 10, I feel like you put Penn State at 6.
I like that ranking.
They Drew Aller's back, Singleton and Allen are back. Tyler Warren's gone, but they're probably going to be good again. I don't know who they have a D coordinator now. But offensively, I'm sure they'll be good. They did lose one of their best receivers out of the portal, but they'll be fine. I think they'll be okay. They'll still compete for a Big Ten championship.
Oh, 100%. They always do.
And then after that, I think you could put Michigan at 7. They have a very hyped up roster next year. Bryce Underwood as a starter. They got Trey Williams from Clemson, actually. And he's not even the best player they got out of the portal, man. They just got a whole bunch of dudes, and they're going to be good.
I love that ranking so much. They entered the year hot. I mean, they beat the national champions, and then they beat Alabama team who had Jalen Miller at quarterback, and Michigan was missing 10 of their starters, and they still beat Bama. So I think that's a very good prediction. I think Michigan's going to carry that momentum from this year into next year, especially with the number one player in the country this year.
And now that they have a quarterback too, Alex Orji's gone. He went to UNLV, and their other guy they had. They really just didn't have a quarterback. But now with Bryce Underwood, I'm assuming he's going to play really well for Michigan. But he's a freshman, so we'll see how it goes.
I think he'll be good. I think it'll be dang good.
Yeah. All right. To continue with the way too early top 10, I would probably say Notre Dame at 8. I think that's a pretty solid spot for them. They got a lot of people coming back. I know Riley Leonard's gone, but I think they'll have their backup quarterback. He played pretty well against was it Georgia or Penn State? I can't remember. Their backup came in for a drive and he led him for a touchdown. I'm pretty sure.
It was I think it was Georgia?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't Penn State because it went down to the wire.
You're right. It was Georgia then. Yeah, he played pretty well in that game. I don't know. I think I would put Notre Dame at 8.
Okay.
9, I'd put Alabama.
Nice. Okay.
They don't have Jalen Miller, obviously. I mean, I guess he could decide to come back, especially with what Carson Beck did. But he
sucks anyway.
Yeah, he's not going to. He's a project, though, for the NFL. But, and then I probably got LSU at 10. Make it a top 10.
I like that.
Top 10 matchup for Clemson LSU. I don't know. LSU did really well in the portal. Garrett Nussmeier's back. Their defense should be solid. Brian Kelly, looking to prove himself at LSU. It's been kind of rough for him. Hasn't made the playoff yet. But I think they'll be in good shape.
I would change one team. And I think I would put Bama outside the top 10 right now.
Or would you put South Carolina in the top 10?
Give me the Gamecocks in the top 10.
I knew right when you did that. I knew you were going to say that. I don't know. I feel like they're like an 11 or 12 team to start personally, but they have a lot coming back. They're going to be good.
Yeah, I personally think Lenore Sellers is going to be like I said earlier in the video, top 8 quarterback in college football. I think he can use his legs. I think his arm is only going to improve. It wasn't the best last year with his accuracy, but you can only build off of that, man. You know what I mean? You can only build off that, but you can't teach athleticism at all.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
I saw it myself. He torched Clemson running the ball.
Absolutely destroyed our D-line. We could not tackle.
Couldn't even wrap up. So I think that Lenore Sellers is going to lead that team to be really good next year. I think that's a team to watch out for, too.
I agree with you. Yeah, 100%. Personally, if we're going to lose to any team next year, I think it's probably South Carolina.
Oh, 100%.
On the road, especially. Yeah. And that could probably be our only loss if we. But I think we're going to be so good. I don't know if we do lose.
I think Alabama and SMU balance out. I would say Alabama, SMU, or South Carolina will balance out that 11-12 spot. I think one of them slip into the top 10. I don't think it's SMU. I think it's either Bama or South Carolina. But I think those 3 teams could balance out to 11 or 12 because SMU is bringing back their quarterback Jennings next year. I think they're returning a good amount of their roster. So that's still another team to watch in the ACC. Weaker conference right now, but I think it's only going up. But I think that's another team to watch.
I personally think you watch out for Illinois as well. They're just coming off a big win against South Carolina, and they have a really good defense. Their coordinator's back. We thought maybe Clemson would go after him, but he's back. Their quarterback should be back. He's a really good player. I can't remember his name, but he had a really good year. But, I think Illinois is a team to watch out for. SMU, definitely. Tennessee as well. They got Nico back at quarterback.
Yep. I think the hardest fall off this year is going to be Indiana.
Oh yeah, I don't see them making another. They lost their quarterback. I can't remember what's his
Rourke.
name? Rourke. Yeah, Rourke.
They were one of the more controversial topics in college football this year.
Yeah,
definitely one of the more controversial topics in the college football playoffs with how the seeding is and how all these teams are getting in. So Indiana was on the border of of getting all that hate. But they ended up having a really good record this year. But when they faced the teams that also had a really good record that were big Power 5 schools such as Ohio State and teams like that, they got ran through.
Oh yeah, dude.
Notre Dame killed them. I know that's two teams I'll talk about making championships, but like I'm saying, it's not even close. And we're talking about a top 10 team that was supposed to be in the country. What are we doing here? But yeah, I think Indiana has the hardest fall off this year.
I agree with you. I think in terms of the ACC, two teams to really watch out for next season are Louisville and North Carolina.
Yep, I totally agree with that. That's a really good take.
North Carolina, you just don't know what Bill Belichick's going to do with that team. Just he's an NFL, probably the best coach of all time. He is.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I don't really know what to expect from him. He might have some really good schemes upcoming this year, and they did some work in the portal, and they still have time to get more guys.
I think another team to watch out for that brought back a lot of their players, except McCord, is Syracuse.
Syracuse, yeah, they're another good team. I don't know who they have at quarterback. They were looking to get Liberty's quarterback, but he went to Colorado.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they have, but yeah, Syracuse. I really wish McCord would have stayed. It would have made things interesting.
Well, we play at Syracuse this year, if I'm correct.
It's at Syracuse. I thought it was a home game.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Either or.
Yeah.
We play Syracuse this year. That's always a team. Even in Clemson's history, during our national championship run, I went to the game against Syracuse. We beat them by a touchdown here.
We barely beat them. Trevor got hurt.
Trevor got hurt.
Yeah.
Chase Bryce went in, and Travis Etienne, he ran in the game-winning touchdown. So I think that's a team we watch out for sure. That always gives us a run for our money. They always upset us at their place all the time.
All the time.
Hopefully it's home,
game.
like you said. But
I hope so.
I think Syracuse is always a team to watch out for, and even Miami. I think Miami's still going to be a pretty good team.
Miami
without
for sure. I know I didn't include them in my top 10. I think they're a top 15 team to start the season.
Yeah.
But I think Louisville has potential. They have Miller Moss at quarterback. He played for USC. They didn't do too well, but he's got a lot of experience.
Louisville has a lot of good talent, and so that's why I said earlier in the video that ACC. I know it's not the best right now, but I really do think it's on the come up with a lot of these good programs.
I totally agree with you, and I really wish Notre Dame was in our conference because it just make it so much better. But at the same time, Clemson, it'd be them or Notre Dame every year. It's just. Yeah, I just really wish they were in our conference.
Yeah, they were during that COVID year like we talked about last night. So if they were still in our conference, man, I think that would be one of the best. You'd talk about that being one of the best conferences in the league, of course.
I totally agree with you.
But, yeah, I think a lot of these ACC teams have a chance to make a run at the championship next year, but I think ultimately Clemson ends up pulling it off at the end.
I hope so. And you saw that stuff about the ACC, what they're trying to do with their new championship format. So basically they want to remove the 1 seed from the championship and have 2 versus 3, or another scenario was they have 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, and then they play the winner of those games play for the championship. And it doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like I don't like it at all.
I hate it. I mean, you're already given. So I mean, you saw Notre Dame and Ohio State. They didn't get a first round bye. They played 16 games in a season, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
16 games in a season, and this is a mini playoff that the ACC is talking about.
Exactly.
It's a mini playoff, or actually it's the old playoffs.
It is
what they're talking about. So I absolutely hate that. I mean, it should be the best 2 teams during the regular season, like it always has been. I hate the ACC's even talking about that. If I had to choose, I would definitely pick number 1 seed gets that bye, 2 and 3 play each other.
If it were to happen, I would pick that scenario over the 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3 for sure.
But does college football have to agree with this? Because wouldn't both teams get in the playoffs automatically then?
That's the thing, and no other conference is talking about this but the ACC, and the only reason why they're talking about it is because they want more teams in the playoff. That's where I think this is coming from.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Just to get more like credibility and stuff too, because everyone has been hating on the ACC, and they said they didn't belong at all. But Clemson held their own in that first round. Man, they really had the opportunity to win. I know SMU didn't play well, but Kevin Jennings had one bad game. So
that was a rough outing for SMU.
He's a good player, man. He fought against us in the ACC championship. So.
I mean, and they played the Penn State whiteout at Penn State.
So it was like 10 degrees too, man.
Tough environment for sure for the kid. But I really hope ACC does not go to that format, because I think, like I said, the top 2 teams should just be in the championship, how every other conference is. I don't know why they're the only ones talking about it. Well, I do, because they want more representation in the playoffs. But you have to earn your way there, man. I think ACC is going to get there. But I think they're going to need to earn their way there. And they even had 2 teams this year. Clemson snuck in, of course, by winning the ACC championship. They never would have been in it. But SMU, they ended up getting in over Alabama, over 3 SEC teams that were in the conversation.
It proved to be why it was the right decision to put them in, because like South Carolina, Alabama, they lost in their bowl game. So
and you can't even count SMU, man. They played Duke, who had their starting quarterback for Duke sat out, or he transferred even.
Yep.
And so, I don't know. It was definitely the right decision by the committee. I think, I think it was definitely the right decision by the committee. I just think that ACC should stick to what we're doing now. I think it's very, very good system we have going on.
I totally agree.
Yeah, yep. I think it's a good system. And so going off of that now, we're actually going to go into some NIL spending. So, like Will was saying earlier with Ohio State having $20 million, I think that NIL spending should probably cut down a little bit. I think, he's back. Production crew's back. Hey, actually, come here, Alex. Come here.
Yeah, we got a question for you.
Come here. Here, you can have my mic.
All right, so let me ask you this: do you think
back?
Do you think it's unfair for a team like Ohio State or Oregon or Texas to have $20 million plus dollars, and then you have teams like, let's say, give me a team, Louisville, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have as much money, okay? Do you think it's fair that this is happening in college football, or do you think it needs to be regulated?
I mean, I think it could be regulated a little bit, kind of like in MLB, like have a cap. Except for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Except for the Dodgers.
But, I mean, I think it should be regulated. So, but at the same time, like, you have to think that some of these teams won before that happened. So, like, it is possible without. And unfortunately, like, that's the name of the game now. So everybody needs to adjust.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can, like, you can't discredit Ohio State, because they also beat teams that put in a lot of money to their roster. So it's not like they were the only team that, like, you know what I mean?
No,
yeah.
So, like, I don't think you can discredit them like you were earlier, just completely crapping all over them.
All right, and another thing.
Hold on, no, that's like saying, bro, that we want to film this right here on an iPhone 4. But we have this very good iPhone because we're able to get that.
By the way, you guys took my SD card for the audio again.
I know. I forgot an SD card.
I was going to take pictures for the Instagram, but they took the SD card, so that's their fault. Anyways, any other questions? I would love another question.
I have something to say. Just to go off of what you were saying.
Yeah.
Not about Ohio State. I think that another thing is some of these schools just have better boosters. It's not. I don't think it's not necessarily their fault for having less money. It's that some of these schools just have more boosters. Like, you look at IPTAY, right? They have
Society.
What's that?
110 Society.
Yeah.
That's like Clemson's athlete.
Yeah,
bank.
That's how they sign these guys and to get them back to come play for us. But like
Exactly.
Yeah, some of these schools don't have those kind of boosters and money to give to the. So it's all.
Yeah, but that's their fault. Like, look, if I was a Division I athlete, if I had all these offers, just don't go to a bad school. Just go to a school with more
boosters. That's the thing. That's why these guys want to go to these big schools, just because of the boosters. So, that's where it creates a competitive imbalance. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
What was Nick Saban talking about? Yeah.
Well, so the main reason why he stopped coaching was because of NIL and the transfer. He just hated the whole And we saw this with Jim Larrañaga for Miami. He was like, I'm done, dude. I'm burnt out. I can't. He had 8 players leave, and they're like, dude, it's not because we don't like playing here.
It is sad. I'm gonna give my spiel on the NIL real quick.
Well, I just want to say I'm just gonna say he didn't. It's not. They're like, it's not because we don't like it here. It's Miami. It's because we're getting more money. So he was just like, dude, it's like that's a whole thing. You go ahead.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
I just think I just don't like it because like we have pro sports for a reason. Like these guys work their whole lives to go play pro sports, get paid,
Exactly.
play on teams that can pay you. And now you have guys that are like literally like basing their lives off their college pay because they can now.
It's
And
ridiculous, dude.
It makes pro sports not as good now because you have guys that are like, for example, Michael Penix. The guy is like probably in his prime, and it's his rookie year because he played 8 years of college.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce off of that. You're going to have a lot of players soon. Not do the one and done or the just till the junior year anymore because even NCAA is talking about doing 5 years now instead of 4 years.
And with JUCO, kids could be in there for probably up to 10 years if they use their medical red shirt.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy, dude.
And so these players are going to go maybe not even go to the NFL. But if they go into the NFL, some of them is going to be 26, 27 years old.
Even
which is
older
just,
than that, too.
Yeah,
now.
which is just
it's crazy,
insane
bro.
to me. And so I think these players are going to take advantage of them in college. People like Carson Beck, who's making $4 to $6 million in 1 year.
Yeah, and
More than Brock, like Alex said, more than Brock Purdy's made in all of his rookie deal, which is insane to me. More than Jaden Daniels is right now in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is VCU is probably the first team I've seen to start paying their players a salary of $384,000 a year, and that's
nuts.
It's nuts, dude. That's a problem.
Well, it's like, what's the point of pro sports if we can't?
Exactly. Now all these kids are getting money now.
Cables, sorry. I used to like, watching pro sports. You see guys develop in college, work their way up to a spot, earn that spot, and then develop more in the NFL or MLB or whatever it is. But now it's like the same thing. So it's like, I don't know. I just wish there was still that barrier. So I think they should definitely cap an NIL. They should cap the years these guys can play because like Michael Penix is in his prime now. He's not going to last like Kirk Cousins did. Like he's just not. Like the guy is old and he's probably going to play for like 10 years in the league, but like some of these quarterbacks, like what Brady played for 20 years. Some of these quarterbacks played for 20 years because they developed in the NFL. That's why they were so good. This guy developed in college, 8 years of college, half his career's over.
Yeah, hey Mark, do you want to come in and talk for a sec? Okay, cool. I'll give you the headset.
All right, I'm out.
Okay,
Going back.
all right.
Alex is out.
Okay, Alex is out.
Production crew Mark is in.
So we were just talking to Alex about the whole NIL thing, and so I'm going to restate the question. So there are teams with over 20 million plus in NIL. Oregon, Ohio State, as I've said before, Texas. And, you got teams like, Louisville. I don't know how much they have, but let's just put them as an example, $3 million in NIL. Do you think that's fair, or do you think it's fair because they have boosters that give them that kind of money, or do you think it ruins the competitiveness of the sport? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. I feel like there's been enough time for teams to kind of adapt to, what is currently going on in college football. So I'm going to bring up what Nick Saban said, too. I mean, that's kind of the reason why he retired, because he didn't agree with, the current way that college football works. But, however, it's just like, the state of the world. You just got to adapt to whatever new things are thrown at you.
I mean, you saw Dabo do that.
Dabo did the same exact thing. And now we have, higher ranked transfer portal rankings than a lot of these other teams do. Yeah. And, as much as when I first heard about this, I was originally like, I don't agree. I did think it was a little bit unfair, but I couldn't help but overhear, what Alex said over there too. Like, for example, Ohio State beat teams that also spent a lot of money on their rosters.
Yeah.
So I think that they deserve to win. They also played the best, and, these players, like, although they're getting paid a lot of money to come to play for Ohio State, I mean, it's like that's not the only reason why they're good. I mean, it's the coaching, it's the sense of community. Like the reason why we were good is because Dabo, he, instilled that sense of community on the team. And now that now that we're getting transfers, it's not like we're losing that sense of community that he always like treasured, like in our program. I think we're still going to have that. And I'm honestly super excited to see where our program goes.
See, I think that teams can, like Mark said, like adapt to the times. Like, for example, Tulane, they recruited Malik Murphy, right, from Duke. Or was it the opposite way around?
The Tulane quarterback went to Duke on
Yeah.
an $8 million NIL package.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Duke, they're not going to have the most NIL, but they're adapting to the times, and they're getting what they need. And clearly, Duke need another quarterback.
That school's got money from their basketball program, and they're a rich school in general.
Yeah, I know, but like their football program has never been the most prestigious, but they're still pulling someone like Tulane.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
And you have teams like Georgia Tech that, were a little bit under the radar, but now, they got that receiver from FIU, and who knows where that team's going to go.
Yeah, they still have Haynes King, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, something I do like about the transfer portal and this NIL stuff is that it can change the trajectory of, of any team.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right? I really like seeing, these teams that didn't get a lot of light in the past and are now, receiving more attention. I think it makes college football a lot more competitive. And that's another reason why I like this 12-team playoff, because we get to see a lot of teams that, we wouldn't have heard of before this era that didn't have the chance to get all these players because, it was the big programs like us, and it was like Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama that were stealing all these recruits from the big states. And now that, you have these players, that are, transferring everywhere and coming from different places, you really get to see how talented, football has really become. And like that's why I'm honestly a very big fan of this era. I mean, there are definitely some drawbacks, but there are a lot of positives too. So
yeah, and even it goes with conference realignment as well. You got to think, where did the last SEC team standing Texas come from?
Big 12.
Yeah. The Big 12. I mean,
then Oregon from the Pac-12. So I mean, there's that too.
I mean, you got a lot at SMU. I mean, you got teams like that can make a name for themselves. SMU has never been a historic program, but they made the first ever 12-team college football playoff. So I think from a fan standpoint, this is a very exciting time to be alive. I think it's the most electric time to be alive in college football, and everyone should be excited about this era and just cherish it while you can. And I don't think NIL spending is too much. I don't think conference realignment is too much. I think change is always good for times like this, and it not to be too stale. So I think as a fan, people should be grateful and get ready for this era because it's just getting started.
Exactly.
It's coming.
Yeah, I guess it is.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on the podcast.
Of course.
It's a lot of fun, talking about sports. We all enjoy it. I mean, so I'm looking forward to, possibly
future guest
appearance. So thank you guys so much for having me.
We just wanted to say we plan on having, as many people as we can on this podcast. So for any viewers that are watching and have, a lot of knowledge about sports, especially guys in our fraternity and, any viewers, we'd love to have you guys on.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think we talked about everything on our list that we wanted to talk about. It was a very exciting episode, like I said, but got the bass wheel a little bit on this episode. But it's just friendly stuff. Thank you again so much for watching the Sports Nest podcast where great takes are born. We'll see y'all guys next time, right?
Yep, next time. Thanks, guys.